Hi, good morning, dear friends. This is the second lecture on pronoun. Today I will start a second lecture on pronoun. This lecture will be very useful for the students who always commits error during writing English and speaking English. So I start the chapter of pronoun. In English grammar, after noun, pronoun is the second parts of speech out of 8th parts of speech in English grammar. If we talk about the definition of a pronoun is called as the replacement of a noun. In simple terms, we may say that in order to avoid the repetition of a noun, we use pronoun at the place of a noun. In English grammar, we should avoid repetitions. It means whatever we have already described in a sentence cannot be repeated in the next. So pronoun is used for the replacement of a noun. For example, if I say Ram goes to school and Ram drinks water there, Ram buys a number of books to study. Here we should not repeat a noun. If I have already discussed a noun in the first sentence, in another sentence we cannot use a noun. We should use a pronoun at the place of a noun. We can say that Ram goes to school and he drinks water there, he buys a number of books, etc. We cannot repeat a noun in a sentence. If we talk about the variants of a pronoun, there are 8 to 9 types of pronoun in English grammar. Subjective pronoun, objective pronoun, possessive pronoun, interrogative pronoun, relative pronoun, etc. So I will discuss one by one before all of the students. At first we talk about subjective pronoun and objective pronoun. I have seen some students using subjective pronoun and after using subjective pronoun, either they became objective in their statements, or if they start a sentence with a first person narrative, in the next sentence they often use second person narrative of object. If we have already started a sentence with first person narrative, we cannot use second person narrative in the next sentence. It is entirely wrong on the part of English grammar. So we should avoid this type of repetition. I want to notify some of the examples of pronoun. Subjective pronoun. If we talk about subjective pronoun, In case of subjective pronoun, where singular subject or plural subject becomes a subject of a sentence. Subject in case of subjective pronoun, I, we, she, he, they, etc. All of these are subjective pronouns. When we talk about objective pronoun, in case of objective pronoun, we use me, us, you, him. For your kindest information, I want to notify this fact that you become a subject in a sentence and you becomes an object in a sentence. It works both. Apart from this, the next is to come is possessive pronoun. In case of possessive pronoun, we want to refer mine, ours, yours. These are possessive pronoun. For example, if I say he goes to school, here he is a pronoun and it is a subjective pronoun. In English grammar, always a noun and a pronoun becomes either the subject of a sentence or an object of a sentence. If it becomes a subject of a sentence, then it is a subjective pronoun, and if a pronoun becomes object of a sentence, then it would be called an objective pronoun. Objective pronoun means a pronoun which is going to become an object either of the verb, either of a noun. Nouns object cannot be made. Object can be of preposition or can be of a verb. If I say he gave him money. Now here him is an objective pronoun and he is a subjective pronoun. In simple terms, we may say that where a pronoun becomes an object either of the verb or of the preposition, then it would be called an objective pronoun. If I say Mohan gave him mangoes. In this sentence, verb is gave. Here verb is verb gave takes an object mangoes. Apart from this, in a sentence, there may be a subject, but there may be more than one object. So we can categorize one by one. First, we can say that primary object, and second, we can say that it is a secondary object. Primary object, which can be called a primary object? The question arises, which can be called a primary object? A primary object is always demanded by a verb. A verb always demands a primary object. We can give a verb a secondary object, but if we give a secondary object to a verb, then we should have to use a preposition between a secondary object and primary object. So in order to avoid use of preposition, we should give primary object to verb. If I give a secondary object to a verb, then we should use a preposition after the after the secondary object of a verb. If I say I gave money to him. Here verb has two objects. One is primary object and other is secondary object. Primary object is money and secondary object is him. So now here we are using secondary object. If we have already used the secondary object in a sentence, in the next statement we should use a preposition to connect primary object with secondary object. And if we have already used primary object and we have given a primary object to a verb, we cannot use a preposition between primary object and secondary object. I have seen some students using preposition. They don't care where is the primary object and where is the secondary object. But we should take notice, on the part of using primary object and secondary object in a sentence. We cannot ignore a preposition when we are going to give a verb a secondary object. So the use of preposition is to connect one noun to another, to show the position of a noun. So in case of pronoun, a verb is given a primary object. If we are not giving him a primary object, then we should use a preposition to connect its primary object with the secondary object. As I say, Mohan gave him money. Mohan gave. What gave? Whom gave? What gave? Money. What gave refers to money. Whom gave? Him. Here primary object is him. What gave doesn't matter. Whom it is given, it is the matter. So we can say that here primary object is given to a verb and secondary object is given to a preposition in order to connect the primary object with the secondary object. If I say he gave money, next we cannot connect a noun or pronoun, because in order to connect next a noun or a pronoun, we should have to use a preposition in order to show the connectivity between the primary object and the secondary object. Without using a preposition, we cannot show the relation between a primary object to a secondary object. We cannot say he gave money, him. It would be wrong to say, because here we need a preposition in order to show the connection between a primary object and a secondary object. Objective case of pronoun. We are going to discuss objective case of pronoun. As we already know that object is always a noun or a pronoun. If it is a noun, then it is a subjective noun. But it is a pronoun, then it would be an objective pronoun. Oh, sorry, it would be objective pronoun, but if we use a noun, then it would be an objective noun. not a subjective noun, because after verb we always use either a noun or a pronoun. In some cases it is seen that there is no noun and there is no pronoun. In such condition, there is a verb. Then we cannot use more than one verb in a sentence along with. If we are using more than verb in a sentence without using a comma, then we should use the second verb gerund form. Gerund form means a verb having ing. Because in English grammar, after a verb, either a subjective pronoun, either an objective pronoun or a subject in the form of object as a noun can be used. We can use a noun or a pronoun in the form of a object after a verb. But after a verb, if we are using another verb, then we should use an ing form of noun. It means we can use only gerund. In case of preposition to, we cannot use a verb. If after preposition we are using a verb, then we should use ing with the verb. It means we are using a gerund form of noun after a preposition. Because a verb needs an object and a preposition to needs an object. Both need object. And as we already know that objects are always a noun or a pronoun. So we cannot use another verb after a verb or a verb after a preposition. Because if we use a verb after a verb, the sentence will be wrong. As I say, avoid. Avoid from bad boys. Here we have used from. Avoid from bad boys. Here bad boys, noun. Bad is a preposition and boy is a noun. So after preposition we can use either a noun or a pronoun. If we don't have a noun or pronoun, we have a verb, then we should use ing form of noun after either a preposition or after a verb. Possessive adjective. Although adjective, we are using adjective in the chapter of a pronoun. Why? Because possessive adjective is a part of a pronoun. Because we are here using pronoun to show possession. And after possessive pronoun, we should have to use a noun. If we are not using a noun, then it cannot be called a possessive pronoun. The list of possessive pronoun as my, our, your, his. Can we use these terms alone? No, we cannot use these terms alone. we should have to use a noun after these possessive pronouns. We cannot use them alone. If I say his, what his? His car, his mobile. We should have to use a noun after a possessive pronoun. We cannot keep them alone in a sentence. And in case of possessive pronoun can stand alone in a sentence. As I say, this car is mine. This car is mine. That car is yours. This car is ours. Here we don't need a noun after possessive pronoun. We cannot use any type of noun after possessive pronoun. But we should have to use a noun after possessive adjective. As we already know that an adjective cannot stand alone, it would need a noun. In the lack of noun, there would be no existence of an adjective. So, in spite of having been a pronoun, we call it possessive pronoun. Because here possessive pronoun means it would need a noun. His book, your book, our book, my book. Can we keep these possessive pronouns alone in a sentence? No, we cannot keep or we cannot use them alone in a sentence. Otherwise, our sentence would be wrong. In case of objective pronoun, as we already know, after a subject or after a preposition, we cannot use subjective pronoun. We can use only objective pronoun. I cannot say that I gave they money. I gave they money. I cannot use. Here I can use them because them is an objective pronoun. I gave them money. Or I can say that I gave money to them. So these are the 4 cases of pronoun: subjective pronoun, objective pronoun, possessive adjective, possessive pronoun. Where a pronoun becomes a subject of a sentence, where we need a pronoun as a subject of a sentence, where we can use a subjective pronoun. Where we use a pronoun as an object of either of a preposition, either of a verb, then we can use an objective pronoun. Where a pronoun needs a noun, then we can say that it is a possessive adjective. And in case of possessive pronoun, a pronoun shows possession of something. It cannot use any type of noun with it, because we have already used a noun before a possessive pronoun. This car, this home is mine. Here mine is possessive pronoun. This home, if I say my home, our home, your home, his home, so these pronouns are possessive adjective, not a possessive pronoun. So next we are going to discuss about the variations of pronoun. First is the demonstrative pronoun. Its variants are as demonstrative pronoun, distributive pronoun, indefinite pronoun, reflexive pronoun, emphatic pronoun, relative pronoun, etc. Interrogative pronoun, exclamatory pronoun, reciprocal pronoun. There are 11 types of pronoun and I will discuss one by one. First is the demonstrative pronoun. Here the word demonstrative refers to a type of demonstration of some kind of either of a noun or a pronoun. It is called demonstrative pronoun because it refers a demonstration of a thing. In case of demonstrative noun, I say that this, that, those, these, etc. These are demonstrative pronoun. This book is mine. Here this, if I say this book, here this is being used not as a demonstrative pronoun but as a demonstrative adjective because it is showing quality of a noun. Where a word qualifies a noun or shows the quality of a noun, then it would be called a demonstrative adjective, not a demonstrative pronoun. As I say, this is my pen. Here this is working as a demonstrative pronoun. If I say this book is mine, here this is not working as a demonstrative pronoun but as a demonstrative adjective because it has modified a noun pen. So we can say that this pen, here this is not a demonstrative pronoun but a demonstrative adjective where this, that, those, these are kept alone as a subject in a sentence, then it would be called a demonstrative pronoun. This is my car, that is your car, these are my pens. Here in these sentences, this, those, that, these are demonstrative pronoun. So friends, remember the basic difference between a demonstrative pronoun and demonstrative adjective is that in case of demonstrative pronoun, we can not use a noun with a pronoun. But in case of demonstrative adjective, we can use a noun after a demonstrative pronoun. This book, that book, these book. In these cases, this, that, those, etc. are working as a demonstrative adjective, not as a demonstrative pronoun. Because if a word is working as a demonstrative pronoun, then it would not require any type of noun after it. As this is my car, that is my car. In such cases, this, that is not a demonstrative adjective. These are demonstrative pronoun because they don't require any type of noun with it. after it, distributive pronoun. What is distributive pronoun? Each, either, or, these are distributive pronoun because they are working as a distribution of things. As I say, each boy, each of the boy, each of the boy, each of the girl, each of the people. Here, each is not working as a distributive pronoun but as a distributive adjective, because after each we are using a noun. So they become distributive adjective, not a distributive pronoun. When we talk about distributive pronoun, we cannot use a noun with each, either, or. If I say each of the boys, each of the girls, here each is working as a distributive pronoun. If I say each girl, each boy, here each is not working as a demonstrative pronoun but as a demonstrative adjective. So basic difference between demonstrative pronoun and demonstrative adjective is that a demonstrative pronoun doesn't need a noun while a demonstrative adjective needs a noun. So I will finish this chapter in my next video. Thank you.